second largest city's first daily news podcast. It's Tuesday, the 9th of December. It's cold outside, but we have a great interview for you today with a brand new guest, Diane Osgood, who is the author of Your Shopping Superpower. And we're here to talk about a lot of things, saving money, but also helping the environment for the holidays. Diane, how are you feeling?
I am so happy to be here. Good morning, Aurora.
Absolutely.
So great to say that to know that people hear me. Yeah, you're right. So I have written a book called Your Shopping Superpower. And I wrote it because, what we buy is so important and where we buy it, because we are the economy. Every purchase we make helps build that economy. And it's like sending a vote out every time you open your wallet.
Right.
So I use that analogy because we spend money pretty much every day, certainly every week for household staples. And that accumulates to tell the market, hey, I want more of that. Or if I'm not buying that, then I want less of that.
Sure.
And the market's going to respond. So if we want a community in Aurora and around that's full of local shops, that's full of independent businesses, we need to make sure that we shop there. And the holiday season is just a perfect time for that.
Right, right. Now, what are some of the easy ways that folks can, do what you're saying, get our shopping done, but then also move into the era of conservation?
So you're right to bring up the issue of conservation. Christmas and the holidays are particularly a time of excess wrapping paper and garbage and waste. And actually in the U.S., we add an additional 1 million tons of garbage to landfill over Christmas and the holidays.
I can totally believe it. Yep.
Yeah, you just think about, what it looks like post holidays in your household. You got all the paper and the boxes,
a
and
lake of cardboard around the tree.
Yes, all that being shoveled out to be recycled or not. And there's some really basic, simple things that we can do to try to avoid that. But I really want to bring home the message first. There's three messages I want to bring home. One is keep your changes simple. Just try to make one or two changes this Christmas season. Don't try to go out and make sure all of your purchases support a local independent business. Don't try to make sure all of the packages that you buy are the most environmentally responsible. Just try to make one or two changes, because that way you're not going to burn out. And you're going to give that gift, and that person will know you took the extra time. So that, to me, is the most important thing. Keep it simple, keep your expectations in check, and make changes over time. So this year, perhaps, make sure that maybe one of your presents you buy in a local shop.
Right.
Another thing is, look for recycled and recyclable wrapping paper. So any wrapping paper that's got foil or glitter or that fake fuzzy snow stuff, that can't be recycled.
I didn't know that. Good to know. Good to know.
Or anything that's plasticized.
Yeah.
So really what you want to look for is good old-fashioned basic paper, wrapping paper. Reuse what you used last year. Try to recycle. I mean, I actually love the look of basic craft paper with twine and a piece of evergreen plant in it. It's got a homemade look. It looks like, I really cared. And it's all recyclable.
Right.
And it's also from recycled materials as well. So to me, there's high value in just shifting. And maybe I don't do it for all the kids because they want the snowman and, the Mickey, the cartoon
the
characters.
Pizzazz, yeah.
The pizzazz. But, for someone who's a little more, maybe this year I wrap half of my presents
Sure.
in paper. I know that like craft paper that's been recycled and has a little bit of a different look.
Where can folks find those recyclables for holidays? I mean, I was just in Target. I don't recall seeing, that advertised that these materials are.
Yeah, that's a good call out. They don't have it called out at Target.
Okay.
They have it, unfortunately, side by side. So you do have to look at each roll of wrapping paper.
Okay.
It's the same price, though. So if you look carefully, you will see a little widget, a little design on the package that says SFI, Sustainable Forestry Initiative, or FSC, Forest Stewardship Council. And that means that that paper, the company that made that paper, has ensured that it comes from recycled and sustainable forestry stock. That's really important. But it does mean you have to spend another maybe 45 seconds looking at each package of wrapping paper at Target, but you're not going to spend more.
Right, right. What stores have you been fond of, or have you typically recommended to folks when they want to go out, spend some money, but be conservative, be conservation minded?
So it's not for large retailers. I mean, today we tend to go to large retailers, and everything is a mix there. As I just said, at Target, recycled and recyclable, responsibly sourced wrapping paper is next to some that's not, same price. And that kind of goes throughout all of the products in a large retailer like that. But it comes back to shopping local. I mean, one of my favorite shops here in town is Yellowbird Books.
Great place, right there on Stope.
Right around the corner from here.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's just a delightful shop. They're going to help you find a book, and if they don't have it, they're going to be able to order it for you. That, to me, has so much value.
Right, yeah.
Because we want to have a bookstore. We want to have that character downtown. We want to be able to park and walk someplace and then maybe go get a drink or a coffee afterwards. But if we want that, we also have to give them business.
And the dollar spent in there definitely lasts longer. It means more to that business and those folks than our large, super huge.
And you just brought up a super important reason. It's not just the quaintness of having local shops. So overall in the U.S. economy, an independently owned local shop gives back 4 times as much money to the community as one of these large box stores out in the outer rings.
I believe it. That's
because of tax. That's because of who they employ. That's because they also purchase local services. So, maybe just I'm surmising here, but Yellowbird probably hires a local tax accountant, right? Those big box stores on the outer ring aren't hiring local accountants or to do their taxes, right? Or if they're going to have a coffee for the employees one day, right? All of that's going to come from local businesses. And so you get this multiplier effect. So if you think about when I go to Yellowbird and buy a book, I know that my little purchase is going, that profit margin is going to help Aurora 4 times as much as if I had ordered it online.
Yeah. You remind me of their events that they've had and different showcases and things from First Friday to just even more recent events where they've actually, they've had folks who are Aurora artists and writers in there to, again, grow Yellowbird Books, but also spread their wings as either artists or authors.
Exactly, and that's something that local businesses are great at. They support local sports teams, they support river cleanups, they support the culture and the arts that we really care about as people who live here. And again, and we know this from data from studies across the United States, it's consistent.
Right.
Local businesses give back to their community in charitable ways much more than the big box stores at the edge of town.
Right. All right. The time is 9:09 a.m. if you are just joining us, and our guest this morning is Diane Osgood. We are in the thought, mind, and spirit of holiday season, but also being conservative about it as well. So tell me about your shopping superpower. What's the genesis of your book?
So I've spent my entire career helping businesses and brands, many of the names and brands that you know and love, helping them build and make and sell what they do in a way that's better for the environment and better for the workers. So I like to say I envision an economy where more people have better jobs, and the environment is restored and communities thrive. And my focus and my passion has been around really getting into the nitty-gritty of working with businesses to help them improve their environmental footprint. That means bringing in, helping them save energy, but also looking at their processes in ways that maybe they can source things differently or save resources in how they make what they make, looking at retail structures and things like that. And most of my friends know that I do what I do, and I used to field a lot of questions like, hey, Diane, what's the most ethical pair of jeans I can buy, And I realize that what I take for granted, because I've been doing this for so long, is a bit of a mystery to a lot of people. And it's a little bit confusing. What do all these little signs mean? What's fair trade? And what's,
Right.
What does organic really mean?
Right.
And so simply I wrote a book to explain that and to hopefully inspire people to start making changes step by step.
Yeah. I have mentioned to you before the cameras and mics came on that I work for the Neighbor Project. Our executive director is conservation minded. One thing that I did not know until years of being with the company was that all of our clothing is I can't think of the industry term, but it's guaranteed that it has not been made or manufactured in unsafe conditions or sweatshops to use the
fair
colloquial
labor.
term.
Fair labor is the issue. It's
That's
the kind
right.
of global term for
Right.
that.
What I didn't know was that there is has become a stronger industry for fair trade clothing. Like
Completely.
that's getting a lot. It's gained traction, and more companies are looking to. I'm not very fluent with the jargon, so I apologize, but they're looking to invest in fair trade.
Right. The sad thing is that today many of the things that we have in our household, and particularly our clothes and toys, are made in factories where the focus has been on cost saving and fast production at the cost of worker safety, at the cost of fair wages, at the cost of dignity on the job and the ability to rise up and have a career. It really is sweatshop labor.
Right.
And unfortunately, many times incredibly unsafe. There was a tragedy many years ago in Bangladesh that killed over 1,700 women that were stitching clothes that have the brand name of many of the brands that I'm sure we all have worn. And so one way to ensure that you don't participate that, again, it goes back to my thesis of I don't want child labor and poor labor conditions, so I'm not going to vote for it with my dollar. I'm going to be sure that when I buy a piece of clothes, if I buy something new, that it comes from a company that have really taken an effort to ensure that doesn't happen in where they manufacture. And so I look for either a certification such as Fair Trade or Fair for Life that really have done, that means, man, they're gold standard, they have done the work, they really are clear that their products come from factories that treat people well. Or I look on the website and I really dig in and I look for real evidence that they're trying to do better.
With the companies that you have worked with, for those who will say have not, either weren't or had not yet instituted the practices that you're talking about, was it because they had no idea of it? Was it just something that they, the company wasn't used to? I mean, how many companies and what's the level of, a novice or they know what they're doing, but still costs and getting the products out is more of a priority than,
when I started my career, which was, a few years ago, a lot wasn't understood and supply chains were opaque. It was very hard for a company to know when I order, 150,000 shirts, I don't actually know where they were manufactured because there were so many middlemen involved.
Right.
And so there was a level of opacity that protected the company from really understanding. Those days are over. The transparency has increased. The awareness has increased to a level that it's, for me, unbelievable if a company simply says, we don't know, the conditions, we're helpless. Now, many supply chains are incredibly complex, but we also know what companies can do to help ensure that fair labor exists throughout all the places that they manufacture. There are the tools, there are the organizations to help. There are all sorts of things now that companies can do and have access to that would enable them to do better. It's an issue of volume, of speed, trying to keep up with really fast trends. And so I say, I don't want to vote for that. I want to vote for a company that takes their time and really ensures that the materials they use are good for the planet, meaning they're all natural. So I avoid anything with polyester and all those types of things because they're not great for the environment. They're also, can't recycle them. I also buy clothes from companies that have taken the time to really understand their supply chain, to really know who's stitching their products. And that takes time, and it tends to slow things down.
Sure.
The upside is I buy clothes that last.
Right. What are some of the companies and organizations that are doing it right?
So first of all, we are all human, and so the minute I say some company's been doing it right, they will prove me wrong, because there's always going to be an oops somewhere along the line, and that's actually where I think it gets exciting, because that's when companies get better. So maybe you've heard of this chocolate brand, Tony Chocolonely.
No.
It's available in quite a few of the major retailers.
Okay.
And it was created because there's a lot of child labor and slavery in cocoa supply chains. Cocoa is grown and harvested in very, very, very poor communities, which sadly often rely on either child labor, which is very dangerous, and occasionally slave labor. Mm-hmm. So they went out and said, we are going to have a chocolate bar that's not only delicious, we will say it's slave-free. But of course, the minute they did that, and then they grew, they realized that one of their suppliers had child labor. And so it was a painful moment for the company, but they came back and they said, you know what? Okay, we're going to change what we say. We're going to talk about trying to become slave-free, and that we are working towards this global vision, and we're going to bring other chocolate companies along with us. But they no longer know, they now know they cannot claim to be slave-free. It's simply impossible. So they become more humble. They become very collaborative. And that's the kind of brand, that's the company I want to vote for with my dollar. And their chocolate's great.
Right. What was the name of the company again?
Well, that one's
chocolate company?
Tony Chocolonely. But many of the chocolates, some made here locally, some made in Chicago, have really taken the effort to know where their cocoa comes from. And they'll either talk about it, that they buy direct, or they'll have some sort of certification like Rainforest Alliance Green Frog, Fair Trade, Fair for Life, that indicate they've come from a good source. There's a since we're talking about chocolate, there's a great tool out there called the Chocolate Scorecard. Look it up online. It's totally free.
Amazing. Didn't know there was such a thing.
And it will tell you which brands to go buy.
The chocolate scorecard. Okay.
Yeah, chocolate scorecard.
You mentioned the most ethical pair of jeans. Somebody asked about the most, but what is the most ethical pair of jeans one could wear?
So everybody's definition of what's most ethical varies. I look at how long is that pair of jeans going to be in service, right? So fundamentally, is it going to fall apart after 4 washes? Because to me, that's not ethical, because it's a hog for resources. It takes a huge amount of water to make a pair of jeans. Very, very water-intensive product. So I look for companies that will repair my jeans. So Nudie or Mud or Patagonia, they'll repair my jeans. In fact, Nudie comes with a lifetime guarantee, which I think is quite clever. So I intend to wear their jeans for the next, 10, 15 years.
I like
and
Patagonia.
If they rip or, I change size, I can go get them altered, right? Because that does happen. And in other companies, I love to hold up Levi Strauss. It's a staple of the American wardrobe. They have done tremendous work on reducing the amount of water that is used in making jeans, and then they gave that technology to other companies.
Right.
I like to say they didn't want to be the only skinny jeans in the room. They really shared their technology. They put a little polyester in some of their jeans. They don't last as long as they used to, and they are so responsible when it comes to water. I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for them.
Okay. All right. So Levi Strauss.
Yeah.
Right.
Family-owned company still.
Yeah. Levi Strauss passes the test. Thank goodness, because I got some Levi's. Don't want to be walking around with unethical jeans. Doesn't sound like something you want to have on your body. 9:20 is the time if you're just joining us. We are here today with Diane Osgood. We're talking about conservation during the holidays, many great things. And this has been an enlightening conversation, by the way, as well. So I thank you for reminding me of fair trade the term, fair trade to be looking for. What role has social media played, or does it play, in conservation, in the holidays, and with everything that we're talking about.
Huge. I mean, it plays a role in all many aspects of our life. It's a source of finding information. It's also a great source of being misled. And that's why I always go back to, and then the book goes into it in much more detail, look for certifications you can trust, right? Because it's a third party, it's experts saying, yep, that company is doing the work. And so I don't have to really believe influencer X, Y, or Z. I,
Sure.
Right. See the evidence. The book talks about what to look for on a website and some of the other ranking and rating companies and sources that are really valuable and trustworthy. So I always go back to those tools. Sure, occasionally I get sucked into something on social media like, hey, that looks interesting, but I check it out.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a way of providing information and misinformation. We've got to all use our own smarts when it comes to social media.
Yeah. One thing that since we've been on the topic and talking about it for a little bit, one thing I have liked about social media is how it does shine the light into some of the things that we're talking about. I mean, social media is really good for showing you conditions of workers in the Central African Republic or
Absolutely.
what's going on in Thailand and some places. I mean, that's when I think it's working good.
I mean, if you want a visual about what happens with your old clothes, look it up on, just Google around, clothing, textile waste, clothes waste,
Yeah.
Ghana. It's shocking. It's really shocking because we produce so much clothing. The average piece of clothing is worn 4 to 7 times, period, and that it is given away or thrown away.
Right.
But there's no away left anymore.
Right.
Right? It is not all resold secondhand.
Nope.
It is not all recycled because most of it can't because it's not made from 100% natural fibers. And so a lot of it ends up in ginormous landfills. And I think social media is really powerful because we can have those images and we can hear the voice of the people who live next to these waste dumps.
Yep. Associated Press, ladies and gentlemen, Associated Press has an Instagram page, and I mean, it'll open your eyes. There is something that I learned in my years of being alive that I didn't know before. So I'm a Navy veteran. I learned something years ago that opened my eyes and changed my life. You got your sports games, for example, Super Bowl, right? The Giants versus the Bears. Companies make shirts that the Giants won, and they make shirts for the Bears winning. But if the Bears win, what becomes of all the shirts where the Giants won that game? They get sent to other countries.
Exactly.
We were in Panama, Guatemala, Ecuador, and kids were wearing shirts where obviously they didn't win that year, Mind blown.
Yeah, and those are the lucky shirts, so to speak, that are being worn.
Yes, that's right.
So much of them were instantly put into landfill.
That's right.
Because they're inexpensive T-shirts.
Yep.
They're a poly-cotton blend, which is very hard. I mean, the technology does exist to recycle the fibers, but it's very expensive and it's almost not used, particularly in the U.S. We're getting there. Give us 10, 15 years. But, those inexpensive poly-cotton blend T-shirts are they're mountains.
Right.
Mountains of waste.
Yep. So, large amounts of them were wasted, and then these are the ones that happen to potentially be lucky and find someone to wear. Yeah. It is the industry.
No, it's quite shocking. But again, I think that's why things like social media and AP Press and others, where they can help bring that very far away from us reality into our homes because we see the pictures and can hear the voices.
Yeah. Well, we're getting somewhere with this conversation. We've been 9:25 is the time, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking for quite some time here. Okay, how can folks learn more? How can folks purchase your book?
Okay, my book is Your Shopping Superpower by Diane Osgood. It's available wherever you buy books.
Okay.
I do hope Yellowbird has some in stock. If not, I'm sure they will order it for you. And it is it's a guide that's going to help you make one or two changes at a time. I mean, I really want to stress this: one change at a time. Don't try to change everything you do. Just decide, you know what? I really don't like the idea of children picking my cocoa,
Right.
my chocolate. I'm going to buy fair trade chocolate next time I go to buy a bar of chocolate.
Right.
You know, chocolate's expensive right now. So it's a luxury.
Right.
I don't want to bring home a luxury product that is stained with, you know, with kids that were involved in its production. So anyway, make one change at a time. That's the real focus of the book. It breaks things down in terms of the environment, in terms of workers, the impact on workers, on local communities. So all the why buy local reasons, how to find farmers markets. I mean, Aurora, we're so lucky with a great farmers market. And
Oldest
then
in the state.
Yep.
Yep.
And the fourth, I didn't know that. And the fourth topic it covers is toxicity. So we end up bringing in a lot of toxic products into our homes through household cleaning, cosmetics, and that type of thing. So it covers that as well. So you can protect your health as well as make sure you're buying from environmentally and worker-friendly companies.
Well, Diane, I really appreciate the opportunity to sit down, talk with you, and learn from you, learn about conservation, very important in this holiday season, and it is something that's possible to do. I look forward to having you on again to talk about banking and all kind of other things. Perhaps we can dig into all of the important things in life. Okay. 9:27 is the time. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to purchase Diane's book. Check out the book. Once again, it's called Your Shopping Superpower. As mentioned, Yellowbird Books right around the corner from us here on Stolp has the book. If they don't have the book, they can definitely get the book for you. Good Morning Aurora will return tomorrow with more interviews and more of the best of Aurora. I hope that you guys have a great rest of the day. It's going to be 2026 very, very soon, so get ready for that. Be blessed. Take care of yourself and each other.